All this, Nick Cater says, with only mild exaggeration, is, quote, taking us further towards the government's apparent goal of making Australia the most unattractive place to invest in the known universe, unquote. We are now at risk of slipping out of the top 3 gas exporters in the world by the next federal election in 2025. The debate over the weekend about whether to remain a constitutional republic or become a monarchy is way off the mark. The coronation showed that the monarchy has hardly changed in centuries, but Australia has. The real debate is whether we are still a free capitalist country. Tomorrow's federal budget will include $1.5 billion to help the most disadvantaged people pay their power bills. Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers knows he's on a winner here because similar rebates are already being handed out by the state governments in Western Australia, Victoria, South Australia and Queensland. An actually capitalistic culture would scoff at the idea of using taxpayers' money to provide relief to taxpayers. But we have become so dependent on the government, especially since the COVID lockdowns, that few people notice anymore. Even worse, none of this relief would be necessary if the government stopped meddling in the energy sector anyway. The other focus of the budget, or one of the other main focuses of the budget, will be housing, which is suffering from a similar malaise. We are a nation of tradies on a continent with boundless plains to share. But the federal government recently brokered a deal with investors from the top end of town to produce thousands of new urban dwellings called build to rent. The inhabitants of these properties will have grown up knowing their likelihood of ever owning real estate is about as slim as Jim Chalmers not retiring to a multi-million-dollar mansion once he's handed down his last budget. Most of Labor's agenda was kept secret during the last election, and so whatever the consequences, we never voted for them anyway. The widening gap between the rulers and the ruled in Australia has nothing to do with the monarchy and everything to do with the never-ending accumulation of power by politicians who, unlike Charles, are not here to serve, but be served.